Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Micks Mowers. In today's episode we're going to take a little look at the start of that job lot I've got coming. The first one's going to be the Hayter. Only because that'll be the quickest to sell, I think, if I can get it up and running. And then we'll work our way through them, shall we? So on the first inspection of it, the tank was all loose and what have it. It did run, but it was making all sorts of god-awful noises. Rattling and hunting and stuff, so not quite sure if it is carburetor yet or what's going on with it, but until I get it all put together we won't know. But we'll have a look into that and then we can work our way through the other lot, so that'd be cool. If this is the first time you're watching Micks Mowers, hit the subscribe button, whack your bell, set notifications to all. That way you'll be told one, done a video, or two, I'm on my Saturday night weekly live stream which starts at 6:30 PM UK time. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty and check out this Hayter Harrier 41 that runs but doesn't. Right, Hayter Harrier 41 on the bench. First thing I want to do is I want to get a 3/8 because it's missing a 3/8 bolt on the front of this carby, and also, yeah, the little tiny washer actually is not there either. It's not hanging on that carburetor. So let me show you. Let's get a screwdriver in, good size screwdriver. We'll have this off. And go from there. So this will be, if it get it running right, I'll be spraying all this up because it makes all the difference when you go to sell them. All the difference. Air filter looks pretty good. So this job lot came in from a fella who has started to try and do the same as me. Whatever you want to think that is. I don't know what some of you think about me, but I don't care. So ½ inch into there. Now I want to take this off because there's a little tiny O-ring and clip that needs to sit on that carburetor, and it's not currently sat on there, and that will all be a contributing factor to this machine not running right. That could be a really simple fix, you know, but the fella did say he tried to get it running and just can't get it to run right. So we take this carburetor off, tip it back. All the springs are in place where they should be, but on here there should be a little tiny clip and washer spring, which is here. Just checking the intake tube for splits, because sometimes they split as well. So this little tiny O-ring and clip sits inside this tank, like so, and forms a seal. Otherwise it's sucking too much air. So we're now going to put that back on and slide that onto the tube like so. Okay, so that could be, that's all that's wrong with this, literally. Lift that up, put that in, put that in. I don't know why I'm using hand tools, I've got impacts. Maybe we're just having a hand tool day today. So I'm just slowly going to push that in, and then I've got a little 3/8 somewhere. Yeah, here, that goes onto there. I'm going to run that in as well. As I say, this could be a no-fix video. It's just what it is, you know. This is a risk you take with job lots. You just don't know what you're walking into. So I don't know if the gasket and diaphragm's been changed. No idea. No idea on the history of it in that regard. So let's do that up. And let's do that up. So now we have a carburetor and tank that's now secure, not going anywhere. So that makes me a bit happier. Let's check for priming. Primes really well for what it is. The springs, just checking the springs are all on okay. Just going to bring that tab forward a touch just to put a bit more tension on that spring. I can always adjust it back a bit later on. The airbox I think was on back to front, wasn't it? I think it was, yeah, it goes that way, you see. So it all fits in. I like the plastic ones of these, they just look a bit better. Right, let's put that on. Okay, so now we have the tank and carburetor now fitted correctly. Just want to double check the oil before we go much too far. That's at the back here, little dipstick. Let's get a bit of rag. There's one. Let's just have a little look into there, see what we're looking at. Just so we know. And we're running it too dry. Yeah, we're okay. Water, not water. It looks a bit thin. To be fair, it does look a bit thin, so it does need an oil change. The water looks a bit water, you know, the oil looks a bit watery. Anyway, it's got some oil in it, so we're good to go for now. That's all okay. Let's bend that up so we can adjust it if need be. Paul got HTLs on. Let's give it a quick run in the shed then. See what we don't get. It was hunting and missing and mucking about, but we shall soon see. So let's pull the old dead man in and give it a pull, see what happens. Okay, so it's still mucking about a little bit. Let's just put a clip on there and see if I can't just fine tune it off the springs. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, because it's not really hunting, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a new plug in it. It's the first thing I'm going to do, because it just sounds as if it's got too much of a miss. So let's go and get a B2LM out. What we got here, Mick? Let's have a little look here, what we got. There's one there. NGK B2LM brand spanking new. That's what we like to see. Let's get the plug spanner. And we'll undo that. See what we look at. This actually doesn't look too bad, this plug. A bit carbonated, but not bad. Brand new B2LM going in. Could be just be a carburetor clean. We shall see, but it's running. You know, it's running quite well, but not running well enough for us to sell. So new plug, and let's give it another go, see if that's improved it any or made it worse. I'm suspecting gasket. Okay, I think I've heard enough. So it is a hunting issue, which could be fuel delivery. So the first thing I want to do now is take this carburetor off and the tank, just to lift the carburetor out to see what it's like inside the well. That'll give me the opinion. 1/2 inch there, 3/8 there. Undo both of those. Pull the tank and carburetor out. Take it off the linkage, and we'll have a quick little look inside this carburetor to see what's going on. Right, let's have a little look at it then. It's not doing something quite right. What's that on there? That's 10mm. We don't want 10mm. We want old money. So that one off. Change that for an 1/2 inch. That comes off. Very quick, very easy, very simple. Always flat heads. Everyone likes these. Tip up there, and let's have that carburetor off. Right, let's undo this little carby, and this just tell us what's going on. I think he said he did have all this off. I think is what he said. Let's remove that, remove all that. That all comes out. Yeah, okay. So we've got a gasket and diaphragm on there. Let's have a little look. That don't look too shabby, to be fair. That don't look too shabby. I've seen worse. What about the well? Yeah, that's a problem. So we've got a load of dirt in here, inside that well. So that needs cleaning out. Bit of dirt in the corner there as well, just down there I can see. So what I'm going to do is, because of the evidence here, where we've got dirt inside here, that tells me that could go through the carburetor. So that will need doing. I've got some carburetor spray here, which I'm going to use just to initially clean that out. And as you can see straight away, just by doing that, that's brought the well clean. Okay, so that stuff was sat in there and going up through the carburetor itself. So I now want to inspect the tank. And the tank is pretty good. A little bit of surface rust inside the tank, not a great deal, but they do rust out eventually. So we're going to give us a quick little clean on the bench. I'll come back in 2 ticks once we've done it. It'll involve taking the main jet out, and judging by that, because I can't move this metal gauze, that means he ain't been in there. Okay, so over the bench, quick another little carburetor clean. Let's look at this little carburetor here then. As I say, the gentleman, he said it was a shame because he tried to get this one running, we just can't get it to run right. So I think it's doing everything it should do. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the actual engine itself. It does seem to be a bit of a carburetor issue based upon what I showed you with the what's in the well. So if it's in the well, then it's being sucked up, is my theory. Got a spring to remove here. Very gently take that off. We've got a metal gauze here. Now this is why I say he hasn't been in, because this metal gauze has not been removed, and it's got to come off. There it goes. That was stuck on there. Cool. And we want a little tiny screwdriver just to fit into there, a little tiddly one, to remove that main jet. So let me grab my little screwdriver. Here it is. Now, to remove this little main jet, there's a little tiny clearance tab just in here. All you're going to do is get a screwdriver in there and just gently, without damaging the outside tube, just prise that little tiny jet out, like so. Okay. And these carburetors are so simple, but they do have holes just here, much the same as any other tube, emulsion tube. So just get your tip cleaners. If you haven't got a set, you can get a set off of eBay, only about £2. Just look up gas cleaning tube, gas cleaning files and what have you, and they'll be in there. So give it a tiny poke. Now these holes don't go all the way through, and I recommend not using carburetor cleaner on these because of the O-ring. Okay, so don't use a carburetor spray. There's a little tiny hole down in there. That one's poking it all the way through, and you'll see it come through this little tiny hole just there. Give that a clean. Bit of WD-40 spray, and run that all the way through. And block the end off, so it just runs out the small hole. So I've got my little finger right at the end of a tube, so just running just out the holes, and then block the holes off so it runs out the end. Like so, and go back the other way with it. Get it on there, that's it. There you go. Happy with that. So that's that bit done. You then want to run some spray down in this little tiny hole just in here. And that'll come out of this pickup tube here. And then run it back down through and back again. And a little bit of something just come out of there, just see that. A general spray, use my other WD-40 cans, but a bit of nozzle on it. Okay, and then there's a jet right down inside here. Okay, you want to get right in there, little tiny brass jet all the way down there. Give that a clean. Now you can also remove the priming bulb as well if you want to. I will on this instance because I'm not quite sure how clean it is. Now you can buy a special tool. Ask my mate Klaus, he's got one. They're about from Hobby Motors. Go and check him out. They're about 38 quid a go. But all you've got to do is very simply get a screwdriver and then push this tab in here without piercing the primer bulb. Tip the carburetor the other way and do exactly the same there. And once them are down, you can then just get behind this primer bulb. Let's get rid of the little gasket. And you can just gently start to manoeuvre it out of place. Just do a bit at a time. Once you can get behind it, it will just open up. But don't go too mad because you don't want to damage the primer bulb. So don't jab it in there because you'll damage it. So I'm just prizing it out. So you can buy the specialist tool for it, but about 38 quid. One tool for taking out, one tool for putting back in, 38 quid a go each. But a flat-headed screwdriver will do it. Once you get it moving, then you're on a bit of a winner. Just a bit fiddly. There it goes. And just gently, without damaging that primer bulb, start to extract that out. The reason I want to look in here is because there's a little tiny jet in here as well, with a ball bearing as well. So take that out. And then your primer bulb will then come out as well, like so. And just inside here, there's a little ball bearing, just there, that needs to be in place, and a little tiny jet just there for priming as well, and a hole there. And what we're going to do with that is we're now going to spray directly into there, and that picks it out through that hole just there, you see. Okay. And then run it back through there again. Yeah. And then there's one more hole, which is inside a green one. Give that little blast through. A general clean. We're happy. Now, one other thing I want to check on these carburetors is that the ball bearing is actually here, is in place. You can take those out, but they're a bit of a pickle. So, as long as it's running, I would leave it well alone. Now's a good time just to inspect your primer bulb. And one good way of doing it is to put it onto a flat surface, like a piece of glass or worktop counter. Push it down, and as long as it holds shape, then you know that you've got a good primer bulb, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, and that was fine. Just check general condition. We're happy with that. So the primer bulb is good, and everything else on this carburetor has now been done. So just a general clean, because there's still dirt in here. So a general clean all the way through for all the main parts. Open the throttle up and just push all that dirt out. Any dirt inside this carburetor is just not going to run right. I'll go back down for that main jet one more time. Right, we're happy with that. That's got it. So we're happy there. This carburetor is now lovely and clean. There's a few little tiny spots and places just want to try and get to. Right, we're happy. So the main jet and tube can now go back in, and it goes all the way in. Once you get it halfway into there, you can get a back of a screwdriver and just push it down till it goes click. like so. Then get your metal gauze, which is goes over the main jet. It just covers it up. Give that a clean both ways. There's millions on videos on how to do these, millions of them, but that's what needs to be done. That now goes back onto there. That stops you sucking up any debris. All the way on. Happy with that. That's good. We put the little tiny spring back on. It goes on this little tiny tab just here. Push them all the way down. We're happy with that. Now we put the primer bulb back in. Primer bulb is very simple. The tabs go on the outside, so it fits in like so. Not that way around. Tabs facing down. It's tabs facing up. Okay, push that in. Well seat it. And before you push it all the way in on a carb, just give it another little clean out. And all you've then got to do is there's two holes here and here. Just got to line those up roughly. Get your little screwdriver and just slowly push this down, and then you'll put a socket on top of that. So just start to marry it up. You don't want to push this in with a screwdriver because there's a risk you'll pierce the side of a primer bulb. Okay, so there is a tool you can get for that. Let me grab a socket for that. All you want to do is get your socket, push it over top of the primer bulb, okay, and then just literally push down until it all goes click, like so. So that one hasn't quite gone click yet. We're about there. Yeah, I might just have to knock this back a little tiny bit, just to encourage it just to push all the way down. And just be careful of that primer bulb. You don't want to damage it. I think that's got him. You can check just by pushing this back. If it goes back, which it doesn't, that's in. That one looks like it's in as well. So I'm just double checking. Yeah, that's in. So that's now all in. Carburetor's now been cleaned. We're happy with the carb. I will throw a new gasket and diaphragm on just for peace of mind. And then we'll go back and fit this back to the machine and see if it actually hasn't sorted out the running issue. Right, so carburetor's now here. Got my authentic gasket and diaphragms. The only advice I got for it is don't skimp on your gasket and diaphragms. All right, if you skimp on your gasket and diaphragms, even if you think you find a good one, they're not as good as the genuines. And for what they cost, it costs about £4 a go. It's not a massive thing, I always look at it. If I've got to buy a coil, £15-20, that's what it is. But if you've only got to buy a gasket for the machine, then they're only £3 or £4. They're not a lot of money. So just be mindful of carburetor spray now. So what I do is I just tip this carburetor out of this tank up just to get some fuel out, like so, and just wipe it down, and that just gets rid of any issues with carburetor spray, because the gaskets don't like carburetor spray. Okay. Or what you can do is what I also do is get some WD-40 and just give it a light coat of WD-40 just before you put the gasket and diaphragm set down. Okay. So a bit of that, and then now get your gasket and diaphragm set. And we go diaphragm first. Always diaphragm first. Just line it up that way around. Put your diaphragm on, then follow it up with your gasket. Over me. That's it. Line him up. Now we can get our carburetor, and the straw goes down in this hole here, and the filter goes in the well. Okay. So the straw is actually a bit of dirt just on there. I can see it. Just picked it up. So carburetor, cleanliness, godliness. they're not clean, they don't run. It's as straightforward and simple as that. So carburetor down, just lay it all in place. It hasn't got to be spot on for now. Once you get it sort of lined up where you want it, you can then introduce your screws and just sit them down. They're tapered at the ends on the genuine ones. So just sit them down for now, get them into place, and eventually you'll start to get one or two dropping into their location. Give them a bit of a wiggle, just so they're well seated. Now, you saw me take these off with an impact gun, so to speak, just to undo them, but never do them up with an impact gun, because you can warp the tank. So start off on one and then use a cross method, and all you're doing is just kissing these down. You're not tight, you don't have to hang on these, just kiss them down, okay, before we go any further. So using a cross method, all I'm going to do is just kiss these down, just so it's just touching the base of the tank. Once you've got them all kissed down, what you can then do is just go around, just give it just a little tiny nick. It's not even quarter of a turn. Just to nick them down. Okay, these don't have to be tight. Got to be well seated. Right, the next thing I want to do now is open the throttle up on this tank, on this carburetor, which is all the way open, so the flap is open, and then give it a couple of primes. And what you're looking for is fuel to be coming out of here. You don't want it coming out the bottom. You want it shooting across. So, couple of primes. There you go. And there's actually nothing coming out of the bottom of this carburetor. Okay, sometimes they'll warp just there. So that's that done. What we can now do is we can now fit this back onto the machine. Don't forget, you want that little tiny washer and O-ring to sit on the tank. It's no good at sitting on the tube. So click that into place. Okay, and then hook up your little linkage. That goes on, and then by putting it onto the fuel intake and the crank breather case rod, it all goes on together, and then slide it in one movement, and get your 1/2" bolt. That goes in, and your little 3/8 bolt goes in, and then we can go back to an impact gun now. 1/2" one, just kiss it in first, then change to your 3/8. Kiss that one in. Couple of whacks with the old impact gun or ratchet, whatever you've got. That's all on. We're happy with that. Let's put those back before I lose them. I've got sockets everywhere at the moment. That's always best to just try and keep an eye on them. I'm going to put a new air filter in here, although it has got a new one. It is new. Done a little bit of work, but it is new. So we're happy with that. And you also want your little bolt as well. What I may do with this one, I may actually change it over to this one. This has got a brand new filter in it as well, because I like the plastic. It looks better, and I'm going to spray this up as well at some point when I go to sell it, just so it sort of all ties in. I'm not worried about the sticker on here. I just like the plastic version. It just look tidier. So, or I can spray the metal one up, whatever your preference is. Right, so as far as I'm aware, that's all that needs to be done to this machine to get it running as it should do. But I want to run it up first before we go any further, to see if we haven't actually fixed the issue. Once we've identified that the issue's actually been fixed, I can then bring it back in at my leisure and give it a wipe down, a service, all change, blade sharpen, balance, all that sort of good stuff, and then it can then get ready to be sold. But until it's running right, I don't want to be doing any more investment into this machine. So I'll meet you outside in 2 ticks, and we get set up. I'll give it a run. I won't start until I get outside. I don't like doing that until you guys have seen it, and then we'll go from there. Right, Hayter Harrier 41, carburetor clean, gasket diaphragm. It was running beforehand, but badly. So check that height control's working, because it ain't worth nothing if it ain't. Yeah, that all works, good. Right, 3 or 4 pumps then. Priming lovely. Let's see what we get now. Boom, there you go. So the gentleman said that it was hunting, he couldn't get it to run right. Tank was loose, oil, the O-ring and clip, and also carburetor was a bit dirty. Quick little carburetor clean, new gasket and diaphragm, original genuine one, and the machine now runs absolutely A1, it's not missing a beat. That's what you want. This machine has now paid for the entire job lot of mowers that I bought the other day. Once this sells, it's money in the bank all day long. This machine will now go forward to have a full service, clean up, tidy up and a spray up, and that's done. Okay, and that's how we do it in the old Micks Mowers shack. Very, very quick and very, very easy. If this is your sort of first time in this venture of doing lawnmowers, I highly recommend the Briggs and Stratton 35 or 400, 450 flathead Briggs for practicing on. They're super, super easy. However, the good thing is that although it's a very, very simple engine to work on, because it's got a Hayter name on it, it's a bit like Nike or Reebok. You know, they are the top end sort of machines in the UK, apart from your Hondas. They sell for fantastic money. They love them. Well, it's not a drive mower, it's a push, but it's got a roller on the back. It's a Hayter. It's got Briggs and Stratton. It's got everything singing for it to make a sale. So that machine, I'm predicting that machine will not be in my store very, very long at all. It'll be up and sold. So a very, very simple carburetor clean. Despite the gentleman did say he has worked on it, but didn't have much luck with it. The O-ring and clip was loose on the fuel intake. Loose tank carburetor. Quick carburetor clean. Diaphragm and gasket original. Don't skimp on your gasket and diaphragms. Keep them genuine. That way you know there'll be no comeback. It's already had a new spark plug. It'll go forward now to have the blade sharp and balance and an oil change, and a spray up on the pull cord assembly, and it will look absolutely spanking, and it will sell just like that. If this is the first time you're watching Micks Mowers, hit the subscribe button, whack your bell, set notifications to all. That way you'll be told when I've done a video or two. I'm on my Saturday night wiki live stream, which starts at 6:30 PM UK time. I look forward to seeing the next episode of Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, people, don't forget, much more importantly, take her easy.